The wildest part for me is looking at the apps that are available because they're basically just the Facebook apps.
Yeah.
And it was like Instagram. Yeah, I'm just thinking of people like going up with the reels, like TikToking, but on your phone.
Yeah, it's pretty dystopian from that perspective too,
Definitely.
Right? Laying in bed watching reels, that's a big use case, I'm sure.
People gonna be, there's definitely people be using that couch setup as well for trunk, so people be doing all sorts with that. So
that is often a source of technological breakthroughs, isn't it?
There we go.
Yeah.
They better not let the incognito browser in the meta rave display.
Welcome to another episode of Not Investment Advice. You got Jack Butcher, Bilal Zaidi Trung Phan. Trung is back on the couch. What is going on here, mate? You in the doghouse?
I'm on the casting couch for a different reason, people.
Yeah, that casting couch is crazy. We're 12 seconds in.
Yeah, the back is fine. Don't worry. The back. Having said that, I got to take physio more seriously. Yeah. Anyways,
we got zoom. This is where Rafa's got to do zoom out to show the full set of your couch. There you go.
I got some.
Go on, Jack.
I got some physio issues as well, Trung. We get into that on another episode.
What body part?
I want to hear this now.
Back of my knees has been knackered.
No, seriously, bro.
So I just ordered these. Ridiculous. Have you seen the leg sleeves you can get?
Oh yeah, I saw those. Do they actually work?
I don't know. I'll find out. I'll tell you boys next week.
My physio has them as well in his place, and I'm like, what? Is this just one of those gimmicks?
Chronic muscle tightness in my hamstring, so I'm gonna be wearing those cartoon sleeves for a bit. See if that helps.
No, all jokes aside, physio makes a big difference. It might be one of the best investments in yourself. You know what I mean? That is investment advice.
That is
physio really makes a big difference
Bilal,
at our age.
Why don't you tell us what we're talking about? But first, I want to ask, what was your physio that you paid for?
Who me? For what?
Yeah.
Body part?
Yeah.
Oh, where do I start? No, I've got shoulder. No, it's right shoulder, left knee. But knee's a lot better. Shoulder's tight still.
What happened? What happened to your shoulder? Why?
That's a cricket injury, isn't it, Bilal?
No, all jokes. I think realistically there is a thing where if you play certain sports for a long time, like racket sports, I played cricket growing up. Throwing, I'm like a bowler. I was a bowler throwing. My friend Hitesh, who listened to this, is probably laughing because he's my old cricket friend, and he's probably thinking it's nothing to do with cricket. But no, cricket, badminton, squash, tennis, any of those racket sports.
So this motion, the listener can't see. You're basically.
You can't be doing that on the casting couch, Trung.
Exactly.
You gotta watch out there. No, but
that's
it is
the
probably
last place I should be doing that motion.
Yeah. It did. I originally hurt it playing some sort of racket sport, and then it's just been up and down. But yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad now. Let's get it going, boys. Nvidia invests $100 million into OpenAI. We got to talk about this. There's a lot of memes for this one, boys, because guess what? OpenAI is going to use that money for.
Trump,
do you want to give this to
you need to finish the sentence. Nvidia is investing $100 billion into OpenAI. What is the money for?
I feel like we're getting a few of these circular deals.
Passive income.
Yeah. There you go. Passive income. There you go. We got let's break that down in a minute because part of it is obviously legitimate, but part of it feels a little funny right now. Let's talk about the Meta glasses that they launched. They were kind of a surprise hit from the early reviews I'm seeing from last week. I want to get your take on that. Also, Oura Ring, not sponsored, wearing it right now, raises $900 million. Jack shared that in the group chat earlier. Quite an interesting example of a real company adding real value, boys. There we go.
Hardware. None of this software, magic, internet money.
Exactly.
Although, wait, hold on. Bitcoin's connected to the real world. How, people? Power grids. Data mine. No.
Proof of work.
Sugar powered Teslas. There we go. Proof of work.
A lot of overlap there with the physical fitness tracker, man.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. And I will say they're not an AI company. They have got. Do you guys use the Oura Ring or they've got an AI advisor or something in there? It pops up, starts telling you HRV's down or something.
Yeah,
starts telling you
probably
proactively.
Bilal probably telling you'll lay off the bowling and cricket, bro.
There
you go. 50 times today. Right. Shoulder, go see a physio.
There you go. Yeah, all right. I'm stopping myself from making more couch jokes here. But all right, next one. if we get to it, boys, here we go. H1B impacts on tech or companies' business world. Obviously, there's a new thing that happened last week, the 100K application fee. Is that what it's called? Application fee?
Yeah, it was rolled out so poorly. Is like, I mean, if we get to it, we'll talk about it. There's pros and cons to the whole thing, which is the entire.
You guys know we try to not get too political on the show, but I mean, it's something that actually does impact.
It's very tech
startups.
edge of the internet.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we'll see if we get to Jimmy Kimmel, but want to get your take on that as well.
Speaking of not political, yeah.
Exactly. That's what we normally don't do. But let's start with Nvidia, boys. 100 million invested into OpenAI. They're saying they're going to use it to build data centers, which conveniently will be using Nvidia chips, obviously.
Yeah, let's walk through a couple memes here.
Yeah, let's get that going. Go on.
All right, here's the first meme for the listeners. You've probably seen this. It's an elephant blowing itself.
Jesus Christ. Drone's coming in hot today.
Well, read it. So why don't you read that, Jack?
Nvidia invested 100 billion to OpenAI in order for OpenAI to buy more Nvidia chips. Sorry, Jack.
Hysterical. Here's a very similar one. Well, Jack, you can explain this one.
I think I know which one.
This is from friend of the pod, Chris Bake.
Incredible. We got to get him on, but there's I've seen this image before, probably people listening have as well. It's the multi-socket extension cord plugged into itself with no power source. Then there's a handy flowchart underneath with Oracle, OpenAI, and Nvidia all connected with arrows labeled $100 billion.
I will walk through that momentarily, but let me do one more. I watched a short announcement on CNBC, and I just want to say, Greg Brockman, the COO, well, not COO, but probably basically number 2 or number 3 at OpenAI, co-founder, he's rocking the leather jacket next to Jensen. How are we feeling about that, boys?
I like
Seems an intentional choice. That's not it doesn't seem like a coincidence, does it?
I actually,
uniform.
So I posted this on the Barely AI non-show Twitter feed, but somebody brought up a great point. They said that you can't have 2 leather jacket guys. And the reason they pointed that out was they showed images of Tom Cruise. So if you look at Tom Cruise on the red carpet, he's a big point guy. He likes to point at the other guy. And there's a really viral tweet a couple months ago.
A big point guy is ridiculous.
Yeah. So the guy,
hysterically,
there's a photo showing how every time Tom Cruise is on the red carpet, he was pointing at another person. But the other person, like Glenn Powell, would have his hands in his pocket. So you have a point guy and a pocket guy. But there's one photo where Tom Cruise is standing next to The Weeknd. And The Weeknd was also pointing at Tom Cruise. And it just looks weird. You can't have 2 point guys.
I get you. Wait, Trung, what are you? And Jack, what are you? The
I'm
pose with the regular...
I'm a point guy. I'm not going to lie.
I do like point. Pointing. I used to as well.
You're like, okay.
Once
so
in
me
a
and
while.
Bilal,
You're not a peace sign guy. That's not a racial
Actually,
joke.
no, I am a peace sign
genuinely.
guy. Very Asian.
But you keep it North America, like you keep it relaxed like this, or you going straight like this? You know
I keep it relaxed. What about you, Jack?
I think pockets or the outward peace sign, which is also, Bilal, got a little British connotation.
What's that mean in the UK, Jack?
It's like the softer middle finger, right? It's like take it down one notch.
They take it down one. Yeah, I get.
But it's gone the way of the Facebook poke, hasn't it? It's gone. From culture.
Wait, Jack,
what a throwback. There you
flash
go.
it one more time. Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Well, V for victory, Churchill. Okay. Moving on.
That's
Sorry,
true,
guys.
Actually,
yeah. Let's walk through this
do
deal.
Some research.
So I will. Here is a tweet from at Sully Omar who summed it up nicely. This one went quite viral. So let me get this straight. Oracle says OpenAI committed $300 billion for cloud compute. Oracle stock jumped 36%. This was last week. We talked about it. Oracle runs on Nvidia GPUs. It has to buy billions of chips from Nvidia. Nvidia just announced they're investing $100 billion into OpenAI. OpenAI uses that money to pay Oracle, who pays Nvidia, who invests in OpenAI. So seems like a lot of circular things going on here.
I was going to say, is this just smart deal making or is it circular accounting?
I would say it certainly is a bit of smart deal making. I'll give you guys what I read. I ingested the internet on it. I mean, we just gave the most cynical takes,
Trung
right?
GPT, here we go.
Yeah, Trung GPT. We just gave the super cynical view of just circular economy going on. So I will rank this in terms of risk. So this deal, a lot of people think that Nvidia was the one that executed this deal because they benefit from getting the money, right? They invest the money into OpenAI, they get equity in OpenAI, and then OpenAI gives the money back to Nvidia. They think it's round tripping, right? So everybody's like, "Oh, Nvidia is just doing this because they're benefiting." Certainly they are, but the point is the entire world is so GPU constrained right now that Nvidia, it doesn't actually need OpenAI to buy its chips. It has literally trillions of dollars of back orders of people to buy its chips. Having said that, OpenAI clearly has the best AI consumer app in the world. And the point that Jensen's made on a lot of podcasts in the past year, and I think it's basically understood at the industry level now. Jensen's whole point that he made about a year ago was, you think the training of these models are expensive, right? Whatever, $1 billion to train GPT-4, 100 million to train Anthropics. But his whole point was the inference, as we all know, which is when you actually ask the models questions and ask for tokens in return, whether that's coding, images, video, or just text queries. He's been saying that market is 1,000,000 times larger than the training market, right? And obviously he's talking his own book, but the entire point is that the demand for the chips, if you thought it was crazy 2-3 years ago, in Jensen's telling, and again, maybe he's reaching levels of salesmanship that we haven't seen, right? Like Jensen's reaching like Elon, Larry Ellison levels of salesmanship, like Steve Jobsian's levels of just selling. And well, let me ask you guys, do you buy that thesis? The inference is 1,000 times larger than the model building. I'll pass it to you, Bilal, then Jack, because it looks like Jack's thinking.
I'm not sure. It's a good question. I don't know about the inference part, but overall, I would just say, taking all the jokes aside, I do think it is smart deal making. I'd say 75% smart deal making and 25% circular, or maybe
Okay.
I'm being generous there.
Sure.
So to me, like, it's a smart strategic thing where everyone wins, but there is like zooming out, like without getting
risk.
into there's
House
risk,
of
and
cards.
it's just more like, I think at that level, like we've talked about before, it's not always just about how many things you sell. It's about what story you're telling. Does the market agree with you? Are you selling enough of a story for the future? Obviously, Elon has been the best at doing that with, what's the unlimited, there's unlimited TAM for space, right? Like,
Yeah.
he didn't just start like a electric car company. He's like, well, we're going to do robots, and that's unlimited. That's the whole, GDP of the world with, human work translated to robots. So now if you take that idea for Nvidia, obviously it's nowhere near the same. Like Nvidia, the whole world is using Nvidia chips for AI. We need it. But there is an element of like, how many more stories can we tell? Do you know what I mean? So I think there's an element like that. This is the same story to a certain extent, but they're just extending it with different partners. So,
well, to your point, Bilal, Nvidia stock gained 150 bill yesterday, went up 5%. So already the most valuable company in the world, and again another 150 bill market cap, twofold, right? It's because they've guaranteed demand for their chips. Although we have to talk about the details of the deal, because a bit of it was just like saying large numbers, like it was just saying big numbers, right? And market moves, but it's like it's in the intention, right? Nothing's in stone. There's a lot of qualifiers. We'll discuss those. But to your point, Bilal, the story, that's why they gained 150 billion market cap, right? So, Jack, your thoughts?
Well, let me know if I'm interpreting this right. You're saying, I think it's obvious that there's more use, or there's more compute being used on inference than the training. No, that's like,
no, correct. I don't know if that is obvious to a lot of people though, because I think the point he's trying to make is, but you grokked it, right? It's like, obviously, if you think about it, the training the model should cost, that's the fixed cost. That's like building
it's like
the car
building
factory.
a product and sell it. Like, how much does it cost to develop an iPhone? You better hope you sell more iPhones than you spend.
Right. There you
them.
go. Fair. Yep. 100%.
And I think that is true, but it's also like they're struggling to monetize it at that level. Is that accurate too? And that's why like this ad model is creeping in, and people are like, okay, like how many people are gonna convert to $20 a month paid ChatGPT users? Specifically, now they've had the taste of the free. Like, I really don't. I really don't know what the path is on that. It's like, oh, you're using like the previously, like not the bleeding edge model is essentially the free plan, right? It's really locking you out for overuse on OpenAI.
On text, yeah. OpenAI is not doing on the text side. It is
voice is longer, but I don't think most people use voice probably.
But yeah,
So
and
to,
it feels like a massive leap to get people to a paid plan. And I think that's. Do you remember the deal, like all the deal making they were doing a couple months ago that we talked about, like governments buying pro plans for like 2 million citizens, and it's just going to have to be like deal making at that scale, or the
ads.
model will have to be
ads.
like how does this?
Well, Jack, that's what you nailed it, right? And
more liquidity pumping into this thing.
100%. And Bilal, you actually wanted us to talk about it. You had shared a couple things about that PDF paper of OpenAI researchers showing what their
what people are using it for. Yeah, I've got it up right now. I was just going to bring
so
that
this
up.
is important, Bilal. Why don't you talk through? Yeah, why don't you talk through that and tell us how much of that has overlap with Google, because that is the ad opportunity.
Yeah, so I saw this last week. So this is what they broke this chart into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6 different? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different categories. Multimedia. So the title of this is essentially what people use ChatGPT for. 6% multimedia, other unknown 4.6. The largest group is writing, 28.1%. Technical help, 7.5%. Self-expression, 4%. Seeking information, which is probably the overlap with Google, right? To 21%. Practical guidance, 28.3.
Also overlap with Google. Look at the top one, tutoring and teaching.
Tutoring and teaching, how to advise, health fitness, creative
that's
ideation.
50%. That's 50% of the use cases is direct overlap with Google. So there's the revenue opportunity, right?
There you go, yeah.
But Bilal, I actually want to, can you pull that back up? I want to highlight 2 things that I found pretty interesting. So if you had guessed what the image generation percentage was, it's 4%. I thought it would have been much larger, and I think it's because of the Ghibli thing. Would you guys like that? In my mind, it makes sense, right? Like text, especially for ChatGPT, is going to be a lot more per token. But for some reason, I thought the images would have been a lot higher. So it's only 4%. Also, coding is only 4%. So...
But I guess general population, only certain percent of the population uses.
So that's the thing, like I gotta put my mind in the mind of a normie, right? Because that's the larger population. And the reality is that ChatGPT, so 70% of it is non-work. That's kind of the takeaway from this. But I'd say this, 70% is non-work. Half of it is direct overlap with Google, right, Bilal? Like you touched on seeking information and practical guidance. So to Jack's earlier point, definitely, I mean, you're right. Is like OpenAI is on pace to do 13 billion this year in subscriptions. 13 billion sounds like it's a bit short of the 300 billion commit they have to Oracle for chips, right? So like the reality is that ads is the only way they're going to close that gap. It's the only way.
You know, I think it'd be a good, maybe this is not a necessarily an ethical comment, but a profitable partnership would be Amazon.
Yes.
Just like inline, what they would shift like an obscene amount of supplements. But that would be that's your vertical, boys. Just I have this ailment, I need this, 1-click checkout.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they could probably still have them in the ads, right? So like Amazon could, like, instead of just locking in Amazon, they could create.
Well, I'm saying I'm saying log in with Amazon exclusive, like you literally respond and the thing is at your door the next day.
Would be like a real assistant. Yeah. Also, Trung, to add to what you guys just said there, I'd be curious to see the equivalent of this for Claude and Gemini, right? Because this is the most consumer app. So if you think how many people, how many users is it? 1 billion, right? So however many users there are on the consumer side, that includes students writing their essays, right? Includes people working, writing stuff for work, emails, stuff like that. Whereas Claude, I assume, has got a lot, like that percentage of code is probably way higher on Claude.
Oh, it's much higher.
Because it's Claude code, right? And Gemini actually is pretty good for coding stuff too. A lot of people use it for technical stuff. So it would be, I wouldn't say this is like this is specifically what people use OpenAI for or ChatGPT, not this is what people use AI for, I think. And similar to what you said, that image thing, if you went to one of the image, obviously there's specific
if you go to Midjourney, it's going to be 100% images.
Yeah, exactly. Or like obviously VO with Google. So yeah, I just think, but was there anything that surprised you guys here though, except for the one that you already mentioned, Tran?
You know, I think that maybe one thing in the image category that is not obvious yet maybe is like it's a Canva competitor too.
Oh yeah.
Where you say I need an invitation for this event, here's the details. It's getting good enough now where it'll just like rip out an image with like the ability for it to add text to images. I think that's a big chunk of what people use these like Canva specifically, but I think that's a big use case. It's not really obvious quite yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think Canva has AI enabled stuff as well, right? And they've got the templates. But I was going to say, if you're someone who makes stuff or wants to start a company, like every little category here could be a whole billion-dollar company, in my opinion. Even though, yeah, you could argue there's just a horizontal thing. Everyone uses OpenAI, but you create a specific verticalized deep product for each one of these, like barely AI, right? For writing or, there's the Cal AI guy is the example we've used for a while. Yeah. Like Cal AI is just taking a picture and it estimates your calories. There's MyFitnessPal already did that in general, but wasn't specific to using an AI image. OpenAI, ChatGPT, you can do exactly the same thing. It's just the interface isn't made for that. It doesn't have breakfast, lunch, dinner the way you have in MyFitnessPal.
Or take Harvey, right? There was like a law firm one. It valued at $5 billion, to your point, the verticalized. So it goes back to, so we're kind of circling back to the deal with Jensen and Sam Altman and Greg Barkman at OpenAI. The $100 billion. So clearly the takeaway nature of ChatGPT, right? 700 million users, consumer app. Jensen is supporting that. He's going to get paid either way. And now the structure of the deal, though, this when you tease into it, it's not the headline number is kind of misleading. He said that they will give 10 billion for each gigawatt that gets installed of AI data centers. And effectively what that means is about a gigawatt is about 400 to 500,000 Nvidia chips in a data center. So that build out though won't happen. Like the 100 billion isn't hitting OpenAI's checking account today, right? Like it's
it's not just here. We're doing a wire transfer.
Exactly, right? It's like when because this is supposed to start second half 2026. And then also because right now if you just top lined it 100 bill, OpenAI today is valued about 500 billion for a recent secondary they just did. But doesn't mean Nvidia gets 20% of the company, because this is going to happen over a number of years. And it's going to, every time that OpenAI gets a data center built with 500,000 Nvidia chips, that's 10% of the build out that's being proposed here, Nvidia will get whatever the equivalent of that company is at 10 billion at that valuation. So today, 10 billion of 500 billion is 2%. So when this first tranche hits, they'll probably get 2% of OpenAI. Now, let's just say, let's live in a world where this whole thing doesn't implode, right? Let's live in a world where the elephant blowing itself and the electric, what was that thing? The power bar giving itself energy actually somehow fully, a few hiccups here, but it works out, right? So say in 5 years, it's fully deployed, or in 7 years. At that time, if you just kind of like napkin math it, NVIDIA would probably own 10% of OpenAI. That's on top of Microsoft's 30%. That's on top of SoftBank's 10%-ish. So it's crazy the amount that OpenAI has already owned. And OpenAI itself, 30% of it is going to be owned by the nonprofit. So there's a 20% equity pool for the rest of the company. Who knows how much Sam Altman's going to get? Probably 2, 3, 4, 5%. So there's 15% for everyone else. But 15% of what looks to be a $2, $3, $4, $5 trillion company is obviously quite lucrative, right? So just to summarize is the headline number is massive. This isn't unlike the Microsoft deal to start off this entire thing, right? You guys remember what was Microsoft's deal? Like 13 billion in compute for cloud compute for like basically half of OpenAI was a for-profit. So Nvidia basically is securing one of its largest customers, making sure it can buy its own chips, and they're gonna win in the end, right? It's crazy. Yeah, I think that would be the largest summary. And the other thing we didn't even mention was last week, Nvidia invested $5 billion into Intel. It's because the U.S. government is a 10% owner of Intel, and we briefly skirted on it. We didn't even meant to go through the full details, but this is something we've talked about, right, in the last month or so. Is like the U.S. government is an owner in Intel. What does that mean? Like I had kind of settled on, it's not great from a free market aspect, but because of how important chips are, you have to have some type of industrial policy. And now you just know Trump is like texting or getting his assistant to text Jensen and be like, yo, you're investing $5 billion into Intel. You're supporting our investment. So Nvidia has just made so much money, and it's just making all these side moves to secure kind of the industry right
so
now.
at that scale, you need to find ways to deploy money, right? Like there's only so much.
Fair enough, exactly. It's just
Like I
sitting
remember
on all
for
this
ages,
cash.
Apple, Google, like let's go back 5-7 years when I don't think they were even $1 trillion companies at that time. Whenever
10
that
years
was,
ago,
10
they
years
weren't.
ago,
They
right?
were not, yeah.
And I remember so much was talked about, like how much money was just sitting on their balance sheet.
Yep.
It was also like 0% interest rate environment. So it's not like you're just putting it in treasury bills for 4%. You're basically it's unused capital. So I think here we're getting a little bit of that again. I guess my question for you guys is beyond just that early question I had about is this circular accounting versus good deal making, is to me like Nvidia is just driving the whole market, right? Like zooming out, everything is up at all-time highs. Stock market is up. Gold is up, which it doesn't always happen at the same time. Frothy. Dollar is down, to be fair, so that might explain a lot of that. To me, that's the only thing where I'm feeling a little bit uneasy overall, because I just feel like Nvidia just drives the whole market. So if they have to keep doing these sort of deals to keep extending things out, are we just kicking the can down the road? And at some point, everything just feels very fragile, and they don't hit the numbers because there isn't another deal to cut? Or does this show just keep going on, basically?
No, 100%. Well, I like Jack's thoughts because I basically just said that the elephant will potentially keep blowing itself, or the power cord will keep powering itself for a couple of years. And then we can move on to the Meta Ray-Ban displays.
It all feels slightly more rational than 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if that's a good indicator of
You said more rational.
Yeah, Tom Osman was on here talking about his EtherRock sale.
Shout out to
Selling
Tom.
EtherRock. Yeah, you're right. Shout out to Tom. Still all-star episode. Might be still my favorite episode.
Yeah, great episode.
Oh my God, dude.
For anybody that's a new listener, we had Tom on here, friend of the pod, who cashed in a $1 million trade on a JPEG of a rock.
EtherRock.
2021. EtherRock. And
good times, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, incredible! Incredible times. Yeah, this is not a complaint by any means. This is
yeah. No, but you're right. Compared to that, obviously.
Compared to this, it's still a very sophisticated narrative of the modernization of all labor, automation, intelligence. It does still have that infinite narrative in the same way that the space exploration does in many ways, right? It's like the
infinite. I love that.
Yeah, the things you can't predict based on the quality and the not even the quality, like the outcomes of creating some superhuman intelligence. It's like investors can believe anything in that context, right? It's like it's going to invent an industry that's going to pay for itself 1 million times over. But I don't know. I also feel like that's why it accrues capital at that, or is accruing capital at this rate, because it's just like this meta. Trying to think of something that would be maybe energy. Like it's like on that. It's at that level where it's like infrastructural, applies to any and all businesses in the world, like personal productivity, all of that stuff. Doesn't feel that crazy to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I agree. I'm on the same page. It's like, is it frothy? Sure, it is. Are some of these deals getting a little bit insane? Like we didn't even mention Nvidia's investment in CoreWeave, where it's like invested for it owns 7% of CoreWeave, gives it sells chips to CoreWeaves, and then also pays for CoreWeave's chips usage because CoreWeave builds the data centers. So it's just the circular. Listen, it is funny. I mean, the power cord outlet thing is quite apt, but yeah, I see it, man. I see the inference side. Am I saying it's at these prices? I wouldn't suggest that. But looking at, we know where Google's headed, man. Like, dude, I've been they rolled out AI mode. I've been using AI mode in the browser.
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
Is like Google, who has the greatest business model ever, is transitioning, is turning its ship around, right? It's like that, it's the future. It is. Answers are way better than 10 blue links. They just are, right? So
I agree. Yeah, I would say in fact it's already the present as well. You know, it's the present and future. So
Well, not investment advice, but what else are you going to invest in?
well,
You know what I mean?
Jack,
Episode 66. Episode 66. That's all we're going to say. NIA.
There we go.
No, but
Domino's Pizza, Jack.
I'm
There we go. We always
seriously
gonna need pizza.
asking. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Costco. But sorry, didn't want to cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just I just did a little chat GPT query, see, while we're talking about this, like the IPO 2021 IPOs, Rivian, Coupang, Lucid, Grab. What was Grab?
Grab is the Uber of Asia.
SPAC, yeah. DD Global, Nubank, Bumble.
There we go.
But I think, I guess that, like, the way to think about it is we could be completely, this viewpoint could be the diametric opposition of what comes to pass, as always. But the scale of it and the application of it at all the levels beneath it feels very different to, like, I'm taking a concentrated bet on this one company or this one software application succeeding. It just, like, it has so much room to run as a narrative because it's just massively widely applicable. And then I feel like it almost has that, like, that venture portfolio construct to it, you know, where it's like the development of this technology is going to accelerate all these different things. And then when it does catch in a really meaningful way in certain parts of its application, those returns come back to it in some shape or form in a way that, like, maybe is not the same. Maybe is not even the same as something like a tradition, what you'd think of as a traditional software company like Google, where you can obviously you could buy Google stock, but what would be like a proxy for the growth of Google 10 years ago? Like, in the same way that OpenAI and Nvidia have this relationship where there's, like, there probably is one, but it feels like even the position of Google back then was, like, way more narrow, as, like, here's a way to get traffic to the thing that you already do, as opposed to this thing's going to integrate in every department of your business and make it more efficient and, you know, amplify the amount of work you're going to be able to do, not just help you sell more stuff. And that's not me saying that's even true, but that's definitely the narrative that's being used to sell 100 billion GPUs every couple of months, right?
Well, all I want to do was just a transition. To Jack's point, the Meta Ray-Bans is a great transition. I'm going to say one thing that Zuck said about them, and then pass it off to you guys. I actually like Jack to continue his thought. So, Jack, Zuck, Meta released the Meta Ray-Ban last week. You guys probably saw it. There's some snafus on the live demo, but I appreciate it because live demos are way better than whatever the hell Apple's been doing. These pre-records, so you get the energy, right?
Well, it was quite funny to see.
It was really funny that the snafus.
Did you see this, Jack, as well?
I only saw tweets about it. It was just some feature didn't work on the
Yeah,
glasses.
just like
Just a
the
few
phone calls
times,
didn't work.
fair.
Yeah, but the whole
They were
point
like,
is
the
that
Wi-Fi's out. The Wi-Fi's out. But
no, exactly.
I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi.
For people that don't know, is the Meta Ray-Ban is, you've probably seen the Meta glasses where they just had the camera previously that could record or take photos. This one has a display inside the frame, and it's basically an overlay of information. Imagine Google Glass, except they look nice and they work. So
Yeah, it's got a Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
It's got
Google
Ray-Ban
Glasses
glasses, not
mental,
that
wasn't it?
dweeby
yeah,
shit
imagine that,
also-
right? So these are $800, and the way you operate them is with a neural wristband. So you can write, hand write in the air is how they describe it. But like this technology kind of can read and understand what you're trying to accomplish. But anyways, the one thing I'm going to say is this. I'll pass it to Jack, and then we'll head to Bilal. Is Mark Zuckerberg believes, and this is what he said on Alex Heath's podcast. So shout out to Alex Heath, great podcast with Zuck. And Zuck's like, you know what? Like glasses is the best form factor for AI. And now metaverse, they spent $100 billion on the metaverse to do AR, VR. And obviously this is motivated reasoning for him to say this. But his argument is that the glasses let you hear and see what the individual is hearing and seeing. So that's the best way to provide context. Now, my counter to that is, there's two counters. Number one is wearing glasses all day will be annoying as F. So I don't actually know if this ends up being the best form factor. I'd actually lean towards the AirPods actually being the best, like her style. And the second thing I'd say is there's a huge privacy component in here. I don't know if the social norm around expectation of people recording you all the time, or maybe recording you,
that
you know what I
feels
mean?
a
It's
little
kind of
off,
weird.
yeah. I
But
agree.
to Jack's point earlier, this is an example of AI just being everywhere all the time, right? This is much bigger. This is like a layer of electricity, as you kind of said. AI is just like it's every. You don't even think about it. When you look at a computer, you're like, oh, look at that machine that takes electricity, right? It's just there. It's understood. It's the basis for everything. So this is an example of that. I'd like your thoughts on Zuck's take, if you agree with it, and will you be buying a pair?
Jack,
You know,
any
I think
thoughts,
is the
mate?
coolest thing about the glasses that I want to use them for is in direct contradiction with like how I feel about the fact that these things are like plugged into Facebook infrastructure. It's like taking videos of your kids growing up with glasses instead of a phone, I feel like is amazing. Like you can still be present, do like, tap the side of it or however it works to like get these like real recorded memories of time with your kids. But then like
POV style.
yeah, but then going, oh, let's upload every single second of my life to Facebook servers. It's like maybe not. I'm actually not that keen on that.
Yeah, I get you.
So, but if they could have like an open source set of them, I'll buy them tomorrow. Like if you say like I want an offline one, or I want like the ability to just sync locally and just store all the videos, I think you would have a huge market for that for parents specifically. And maybe I'm an edge case because I'm like, a lot of people want to upload their kids growing up to Facebook anyway, do it out of like they opt into that regardless. But I feel like that is one thing I agree as like a way to record content is like unbeatable in terms of like capturing something without being like without putting a brick between you and whatever you're trying to capture. But I do think I think I agree with the AirPods comment of like, it's almost like when you're doing that, you're distracted anyway. So like, what does it matter what you can see? Like, it's kind of an odd, like, imagine I'm like trying to send off a text message or compose an email and I'm sitting like at the kitchen table with your family sat around
And
you.
you're handwriting in the air.
Like
Yeah.
you like, I don't think like
Yeah,
people
in a
will
way,
get
being
there
on your
easily.
being on the phone is actually better because it's a visual cue. Like I'm
Exactly.
doing this,
I'm
I'm
doing this.
distracted,
Right.
but I'm not like pretending to listen, and I'm actually reading tweets in the top right of my eye. You know what I mean? So that's that. No, I agree. Yeah, the wildest part for me is looking at the apps that are available because they're basically just the Facebook apps.
Yeah.
And it was like Instagram. Yeah, I'm just thinking of people like going up with the reels, like TikToking, but on your phone.
Well,
Yeah,
Jack,
it's
actually,
pretty
let me
dystopian from that perspective
Bilal, let me
too,
Definitely.
right?
let me
Laying in
jump on
bed
something
watching
Bilal said.
reels, that's a big use case, I'm sure.
People gonna be, I mean, there's definitely people be using that couch setup as
Yeah,
well for trunk,
exactly.
so people be doing all sorts
well,
with that. Sorry, guys.
That is often a source of technological breakthroughs, isn't it?
There we go.
Yeah.
They better not let the incognito browser in the meta rave display. No, so
Trung, you were going to add something. Go on.
yeah, I was just gonna say, Bilal, you brought up a great point. Well, both of you guys did, namely Bilal with his head moving up and down, scrolling through reels, and then Jack doing the handwriting in the air. So this is what. So Alex Heath asked Zuck this, and this is a very instructive answer that Zuck gave. Alex Heath is like, "Okay, Zuck, what can I do with the Meta Ray-Ban display that I can't do with the smartphone?" Okay, so you know Zuck's media trained. He knows he's gonna ask this question. This was his answer. I'm telling you right now, I don't think it was a great answer, and it's very much to what you guys have said. This was Zuck's answer to what can the Meta Ray-Ban display do that smartphones can't. He's like, well, sometimes I'm having a conversation with somebody, and they'll say something that doesn't sound necessarily true, and I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I don't want to pull up my phone and get the extra information. So I'll just ask my glasses, and then I'll continue the conversation, and then it will provide context for the conversation, and I didn't interrupt the conversation. I'm
wild.
like, that's the best example that you have.
You're going to run out of friends pretty quick doing that.
This reminds me when he was on, was it Theo? Was he on? Yeah, definitely. Was it on Theo Von or one of them when he was talking about his helicopter having more horsepower than his car or something like that? Or like when there was like a short clip where they're like,
or like the least relatable thing in the world.
Yeah, act normal. And he's like, I don't drink coffee. And then it's like real straight face. And it's like, you don't drink it at all? He's like,
he says, nope. I like to raw dog life is what he said. Wait, so to Jack, to your exact point, and then to Bilal's head waving point, this was the best example Zuck could come up with of why the Ray-Ban display was better than a smartphone.
I would say the only thing I can think of, Trung, is when you're on a bike or walking and you want directions. That's one of the few things where I'm
what is the TAM
overlaid
for that? What is the TAM
it's not enough. I do think genuinely what you said there, Jack, the best part of it is the video, which already exists in the existing one. I haven't got them, but a few friends who do love them, and they all have kids, and they say it's amazing to be with your kids and you can play with, lift them up, do whatever like you normally do without the phone in your face.
But then you feel to the other point is like you have to take them off when you're like ordering a coffee or something. So we look at you like, what's this guy doing? You know? Like it's a really specific thing which kind of breaks it, right? Where you're like, you start, hang on, let me put my glasses on and record. It's like the same interruption as the phone in many ways. Because
and also sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't really... You can't, like the phone in many ways is like when the phone is down, it's gone. Yeah. This is like, and I think I saw someone write about this, so I can't credit them, unfortunately, but it's like, oh no, Signal. You guys follow Signal on Twitter? Good writer.
But what about
he's fantastic, man.
Yeah, the tweet was about
that guy. I thought you were saying like Signal, the app. I thought you were
saying Signull.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
And the idea was, isn't this moving in opposition to how people feel about technology and screens and feeds, which obviously they have the data to prove otherwise, right? There's this prevailing cultural narrative that's just not true, right? Everyone's like, I need to get off the screen, but probably spending more and more time on it in direct opposition with how they feel about it. So it's still though, it's hard to bet against Zuck and Meta, and just like the distribution is so unbelievable, and you got to respect the fence swinging, and they've gotten so much better looking too. You have to give props.
Yeah, they improved so much for sure.
Unbelievable hardware, incredible.
For $800 to whatever $800-900. I will say I doubt they're making profit on the hardware itself. I bet it's like break even max. Like they probably lose money on the device. But to your point earlier, Jack, about it would be great if they had an open source version, so you don't have to be in the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And to what I think is probably that's the cost they're willing to bear, so that you are in the ecosystem for them. I think. And then secondly, the other point about us being addicted to phones and screens, and everyone's, well, I won't say everyone. I think there's different segments of society. Like our parents, on average, are probably at the stage we were 7 to 10 years ago when we're starting to be like, oh, having too much screen time is bad. And like my parents, when I'm with them, like they still have all the buzzing going off on notifications like other people I hang out. You know, like a lot of us will have no notifications on sleep mode or do not disturb or evergreen essentially. And they'll just be there like it's normal. It's just buzzing. And I'm not just saying my parents, like in general, that's often the case. And we were probably like that 10 years ago. And then over time, people saw there was a documentary, there was a talk about it. And then it's for kids, less screen time, less iPad time, all that sort of stuff. So to your point, Jack, I do think there is a general counter trend of people wanting, or at least stating that they want to have less screen time. Like that's in the same way people state that they want to drink less. But it takes like a big shift to actually make that happen, because drinking is fun for most people and screen time is addictive and fun for most people. So I think there's a little bit of both. I think the intent is to do one thing, and then the addictive nature of stuff, and also people's real reality is different to what they say. So there's all those things that go into it. But the main point I have here is we hear a lot about different tech leaders talking about this idea of how do we fix this problem of screen time and being on our phones too much. And a lot of their answers are, well, we need a new device that takes us off our phones. And instead we're going to have glasses, or we're going to have, remember that humane chip or whatever, necklace or whatever. There was the same kind of narrative going on. I think one of them may stick, but ultimately I think the best antidote to lots of screen time is no screen time. So it's like having a separation.
Not a display in your lower right. The glasses in your lower
exactly.
right eye.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is mental is like he's been on it for like over a decade at this point. Like the Oculus acquisition wasn't where all this started.
Well, his argument was basically, you know, he spent $100 billion on Meta, on the metaverse and making this hardware, and then he realized that the only way to unlock it is actually super intelligence, right? It's like to take all this information and make it usable. But again, to our point,
it sounds like BS though, no? There's already this network of activity happening, and it's like it's the device or the form factor that is limiting it. And I even think like the thing that drives AI, the thing that drives the adoption of something like OpenAI is way more about like, this thing is confirming my bias and I'm sitting in a dark room talking to it, than me like walking down the street like, hey, I've got an itchy XYZ. What do I do?
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, Jack, you'd be writing that question in the air with your hand.
True. Trying to describe it with a diagram.
Apparently, allegedly, it's very good though at like actually so if you actually wanted to do that, Jack, if you wanted to write, I have an itchy leg, what do I do? It could actually do that.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting? I think like there is a use case for it, like sitting on your own in an office or something, which is so bizarre.
What about a cafe?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's like that's what feels odd to me, is like it is positioned as this social, even like what was the Apple thing? What do they call that thing?
The Vision Pro?
Vision Pro. Obviously, there was a few viral images that came out. You see those two lads like eating pho on the first week, and they had them on. That was class. But for the most part, you're supposed to like sit with the power supply at home or whatever. And that to me is kind of interesting. Like if you work in if you're like taking a bunch of calls, or you're trying to write emails, or like, I don't know, I feel like there's these really narrow use cases for it, but I respect the incessant desire to crack that form factor. It's way more of a social headwind now than a hardware problem, because that's what it always used to be described as, right? It's like needs to get lighter, it's also just people don't want to do it. Like even the Oculus thing, you put it on for 10 minutes, you're like, get this off me, man. This
you
is
have
like,
one, right,
heavy.
Jack? You have
I've used it like honestly, literally 3 times. And I'm just like, you also feel a tit even if you're by yourself. You know what I mean? Like in your like swinging around your, it's just like
yeah, I love Jack's always got these old British phrases that I forget about, like calling yourself a tit is great. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Like the man, you got what's his name? Paul Scalise, Lindy Man. The phone is solved. Also, like the video game controller is solved. not to be a Luddite, but the experience has been perfected. You got the ergonomic, you sit on the sofa, you put the controller down when you finish playing. It's not you remember the Wii where people were like lobbing that controller through the screen and stuff?
Where they're playing tennis in the living room. Or like the best is the boxing one.
Man, legendary.
Wii
man.
was amazing, to be honest. That was
insane YouTube videos of people like spinning on one.
Yeah, they would like throw it because they
oh,
let go by accident.
Incredible. But I think you'll probably see in the next few months somebody, maybe it's like too big of a moat to come after to like make an open source one, but I'll be so interested in that.
Bet there'll be someone like cracking them either way, right? Like
that's
using the hardware.
That's true. Man,
probably,
do you remember
probably on Reddit right now,
the,
to be honest.
With the old games consoles. Like
when you
so
get the
good.
chip PlayStation.
Chip the PlayStation.
Well, guys, here's the reality. Apple's gonna make these glasses, and they're gonna be the best. Like, if we're being honest.
Fair
That's
enough.
fair. No, I will say one big thing. Honestly, if whoever just got the OpenAI integration with it, because obviously Meta doesn't want to do that. They've got their own AI. Google doesn't want to do it. They've got their own AI. If Apple just says, finally, Siri shit, let's just lean in, that would be a killer. Like, I would love that. I would use that a lot. Because it's just, honestly, I wonder if Google, like, where the AI is actually good. Like, even now, I use Siri, like, for basic stuff, and it just still messes. And I'm like, how did you not understand? Like, it's like 3 things I'm asking for: a timer, next song, call home, or something like that, you know? And it constantly will mess it up. So it's just, I think if a lot of this is supposed to be voice related too, I think that's an important part of it. But yeah, I would probably, honestly, I need to look at it a bit more. I would consider getting them just because they look quite interesting.
I think they're cool, especially the translucent ones. You see the like where you see the hardware through the side. That's what I would do. Get the ones that look like they expose the fact you're wearing a computer on your face, as opposed to like hiding
I don't think I even saw that one.
Yeah, they're cool. Let me show you. Hang
Translucent Meta glasses.
Wayfarers, is it?
I also do think they've done a good job just doing the partnership with Ray-Ban just to keep it straightforward.
Luxottica.
You know?
Did you see that guy's name? What's his name? Like Rocco's Basilisk, the guy that works at...
Yeah, you'd shared that with us. Also, I do want to shout out Barely AI's tweet on this. Li Chen runs Meta's Ray-Ban glasses project. She was hired in 2021 after 18 years at Microsoft. How she bought an earlier pair of Ray-Bans, then wrote a long email to the head of Meta's wearables division with a long list of all the problems with the glasses. She basically got a job there, right? And was she leading it, or what was she doing? She was like someone really involved with this. These look sick, actually, Jack.
This
You're right.
website is...
I do kind of like those.
Insanely hard to use. But yeah, like they're just like... You could see all the circuit board through the side of it. So that's cool.
Just go full Terminator mode with that. You know what I mean?
I pulled up a little stat, boys. What would be your estimate of how many people use Siri more than once a day? iPhone users. What percentage?
Trung, you're muted. No, I think your mic's working. I think you...
iPhone users that use Siri more than once a day.
Yeah.
I'd say 5%.
Yeah, I was going to say less than 10.
15 to 25, it says.
Oh,
Yeah.
my...
Boomers.
I don't believe those.
Boomers. Boomers probably think boomers probably think Siri is like the next generation stuff.
But they're not going to be the Ray-Ban wearers, are they? So
That's
it's kind of
true.
an interesting mismatch there. I feel like the people who are going to get the most use of that are people who are just like pranking people in Target and stuff. You know, those like idiotic YouTube videos. Like that's going to be the main
use case.
The main
Dropping
use case
game
for it is like
in
just
Target, one of
destroying
those
civilization hands-free. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I do want to shout out, I don't have the quote here. Didn't he say something like, if we accidentally spend $200 billion, basically waste $200 billion investing in this, then it will be annoying, but not the end of the world sort of thing.
Crazy.
That was a ridiculous
Yeah, that's
line.
impressive.
Pretty ridiculous.
You got to appreciate that too. Not just
I do appreciate him swinging for the fences.
Different color iPhones, you know, it's cool to see.
That's true.
There's actually 3 founders that are doing the same thing. Larry Page and Sergey Brin have also said internally at Bilal's former employer, we snuck it in there, that they are willing to burn the boats down to win AI. Because remember, they own 51% of the voting shares of Google, right? Like they still control that company, even though they only own 12% of the equity. Only, in air quotes, they're still worth like 150B each. And then Larry Ellison just bet the farm on Oracle on his cloud business. In fact, Oracle just named 2 new co-CEOs, and both of them have cloud experience. That's why they got brought in. And then Zuck's obviously to Jack's quote there. Now, guys, we have 6 minutes left. Let's just end with the Oura ring because I would love Jack's take on that.
I'll pull out the headline. So the maker of Oura Ring is raising nearly $900 million, making it a $10 billion company. It sold 3 million rings in the last year or so and is on track for over 1.5 billion in revenue this year. So just to put it in perspective, there's $1.5 billion in revenue and they're valued at around $10 billion. So they're like actually, real company, real customers selling a product people like. They've been around. I mean, the progress they've made on it, honestly, is pretty incredible. I remember when I first used it, they were thick, man. Like they were ugly.
The Oura Ring was
really heavy. Yeah, really heavy. But they were always just known as like the best tech for tracking all that sort of stuff for sleep. Pretty cool to see them actually seem to be succeeding. Who knows what will happen in the next few years. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Jack? I know you shared this with us.
Well, just cool hardware story. Don't see that often anymore. Just air fryers, right? That's what we've been seeing the last few years, for Trung's point.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get, like, I'm just trying to think of something that's taken off to that extent in recent memory. It doesn't feel like much. And then this is a software business too, right? Just a ridiculous moat on their software business. You're muted again, Trung. You
have a monthly subscription?
You have to use that.
Okay.
So I feel like that's I think that's the case with most of these fitness trackers, but once you have like years of data in that thing, they're not getting
locked in.
You're not getting off, exactly. And then it feels like just coinciding with a massive movement around this stuff, right? The tracking era, which we've even in the last few weeks talked about, like, is this going away? Is it like, are people going anti-optimization? Doesn't really feel like it feels like the Oura Ring is kind of easy to maintain, right? It's just it's actually, there's a good comparison to the Facebook glasses there, right? Because the first iteration of this stuff was like the Garmin, like massive screen on your wrist, which was like, what's my heart rate right now? What's going on exactly in the moment I'm looking at it? And this like takes a total opposite approach, which is like basically every 24 hours you look at it and say, how'd I sleep? What was my average across this time? Or you could like not look at it for a week and then it syncs and tells you all that stuff, which is, you would think would be the wrong approach, right? You'd think that would be, people would much rather have this like real time tracking, but they seem to have done very well without that. And then like to Bilal's point, like what they've managed to put in this little ring is unbelievable. And I think it's widely regarded as like the most accurate and like,
especially
I think the
for
placement
sleep,
of
I'd say, yeah.
What's the battery life?
Like 3 or 4 days, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah,
so
and if you
time.
do airplane mode, it can be like a week for a lot of people as well. It depends on how much you use it. It depends if you're doing like workout, because you can track like active workouts and stuff as well. That obviously uses more tracking. But if you're just doing it sleep only and you use airplane mode, I think like 5 days or something, maybe a week. But also just to your point, Jack, earlier about software business, originally they didn't have the subscription per month, that like the old model. So my missus, she still has that, but it only lasts like a day by this point.
Grandfathered in.
Yeah. And so my one, because that stopped working, my old one, and then I bought this and then I had to pay for the monthly thing, which is fine because they actually give you quite a lot of extra stuff. Like you get stress levels throughout the day, which honestly for me has actually been quite helpful because when I was getting sick or something, I would like start seeing it kind of before it happened. and you'd kind of get like a little ping, like, oh, something was off last night in your sleep. And normally I would just go straight, do my normal stuff, go to gym, go be outside, do whatever I'm gonna do. And now I kind of know I've done it enough times where I'm like, oh, I just need to chill for a day and I'm gonna be completely fine. So for stuff like that, I think it's really, really helpful. Also for women, it's really good for cycle, like their monthly cycle tracking. That's really interesting too, because it's got temperature, and so if you look at the temperature, you can easily map stuff like that out.
So are you guys pro? So you guys are pro Oura Ring?
I like it personally, but I do think my only thing I'd say is that a lot of people, I wouldn't overemphasize the numbers. Like I think some people look at a number and they need to optimize it. They get stressed out about it. I think if it's a gentle nudge to say, oh, you didn't sleep enough last night, you're aware of that, that's probably helpful, but I don't think that's for everyone. I think some people get too militant about it, and I don't think that's healthy for you as well. But yeah, overall, I recommend it. I like it a lot.
It's good. And I think it shows you like what a big difference certain actions can make.
Alcohol. No bueno.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know what's funny? I think there's like I read this quote the other day. This is like the total opposite. It said, men sleep 6 hours. Men need 6 hours of sleep. Women need 7 hours of sleep, and fools need 8. I think that might have even been David Senra that tweeted that originally.
I thought you were about to say David Goggins, man.
No,
that sounds like something he'd say as well.
But when you look on your Oura Ring, you get the opposite message. It's like every minute you get past like 7 hours, it's like your body's like, going into like supreme recovery mode. And it just makes you realize little stuff like, oh, if I eat my dinner an hour earlier, like my entire night's sleep is like 25% better. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It is nice to see that. You're right.
Yeah.
So you tested stuff to actually improve your sleep with it.
Yeah, and then when you like get in a good run, you're like, you think twice about like, am I gonna make the lifestyle decision that, if you're gonna do it properly. I think we've talked about this before. If we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out.
You're going out.
Like
Liam Gallagher, right? When we're gonna have 100.
Big John.
Yeah.
Just boshing it out.
Yeah. Man.
Sorry,
we got to do that
the
next
wrong
week.
Phrase there, but yeah,
we got to get that ready.
Trung, has this hit your timeline? Big John. If I show you Big John,
no, I haven't seen Big John yet. Am I gonna get cancelled?
No. He's a very loving guy, man. Wait,
boys, I got to run.
All right, go for it, man. All right, we'll talk to them. All right, see you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy that. Have a good one. See you guys next week. Bye bye.